distant time and faraway place, the planet of New Texas floats deep in space. Sky of 3 suns, land of precious ore. The Kerium rush brought outlaws by the score.
The Kerium Connection. The raucous, good-natured banter of the occupants of Handlebar's cantina was suddenly hushed by the unmistakable sound of a strange turbo mule locking into the hitching rail outside. Alien eyes flashed questioning looks across the crowded room. The sound of footsteps on the sidewalk gave way to a gentle buzz of amazement when the door flew open to reveal the gaunt, disheveled figure of Obadiah Johnson, his skinny arm held aloft, fist clenched in triumph. "Set 'em up, barkeep," he shouted. His wizened face creased with manic glee as he strode up to the counter. "It's Sweetwater all round, boys, and don't spare the ice. The drinks are on me." The extremely varied customers from diverse planets, the length and breadth of the cosmos, crowded round the dust-covered veteran. "Kerium, boys, Kerium," croaked Obadiah. "Tons and tons and tons of Kerium." He clenched his other fist and held both up gleefully in front of his face. "The crystalline element that fuels the galaxy space liners, boys. And I've found it. It's Kerium, all right. A whole mountain full of the stuff. And it's mine, all mine." "I don't suppose you'd like to broadcast where you made this find?" asked Handlebar, casting a quick eye over his customers for any sign of trouble. "You know that some people can get awful mean where Kerium's concerned." "Let 'em!" howled Obadiah, downing his Sweetwater in one, then rattling the ice cubes round the bottom of the glass. "I never had nothing before, and now I'm rich, rich, rich beyond my wildest dreams. All my life has been misery, and now I've got happiness. Pure Kerium happiness. Folks, and nobody can take that from me." Outside the window, the scruffy shape of Outlaw Scuzz slid back into the shadows. "Nobody, huh?" he muttered to himself. "Let's see what Tex Hex has to say about that." 2 days later, as Bravestarr and 3030 rode the trail with Deputy Fuzz, the marshal's face suddenly clouded over, and he reined his mount to a halt. "Whoa, big partner," he cautioned, surveying the landscape around him. In the distance, Sandstorm's sand sledge kicked a thin trail of dust along the top of a high ridge. 3030 feigned boredom until his curiosity got the better of him. "What is it now?" he grunted, looking up. Bravestarr's eyes narrowed as his vision passed over the sand sledge and settled into the middle distance. "Something's wrong," he explained, his face set firm as his voice seemed to grow fuller, more powerful. "Eyes of the hawk!" And as the hawk's eyes seemed to superimpose on his own, his vision zeroed in across the wastelands onto a chilling scene. Tex Hex and Outlaw Scuzz were on their hands and knees staring at something moving on the ground, like 2 greedy cats playing with an injured mouse. Bravestarr felt the anger rising in him when he saw that the thing on the ground was the tiny, still shrinking figure of Obadiah Johnson. "Let's go, partner," he urged as 3030 broke into a gallop. "We got trouble." But if the 3 lawkeepers had trouble, it looked like Obadiah had a whole heap more. Ambushed by Tex Hex and Outlaw Scuzz, the old prospector had caught a hex load from the hexmaker that had started him shrinking smaller and smaller. Even now he was a little bigger than an average Earth rabbit, and Tex Hex was threatening that if he didn't tell him the location of his Kerium mine, he would let him keep on shrinking till he disappeared forever. "You won't get my Kerium," Obadiah piped defiantly. "Never, never, never. It's mine, I tell you, all mine. And now I'm small, my Kerium will look bigger and make me even more happy."
"I'll get it all right, you little pipsqueak," crowed Tex Hex. "I already know where your secret hideout is, and you're bound to have a map there somewhere."
"Better get out of here, Tex Hex," warned Outlaw Scuzz, spotting the awesome shape of 3030 speeding across the sands toward them. "Bravestarr's coming."
"That interfering fool," snarled Tex Hex, leaping on the back of his skullwalker. "But it's too late now. Once I steal the old prospector's map, all his Kerium will be mine."
Tex Hex and Outlaw Scuzz fled as Bravestarr, 3030, and Deputy Fuzz pulled up. As 3030 looked on the ground for the shrinking prospector, Bravestarr's voice boomed out, "Ears of the wolf!" And as an image of a mighty wolf formed around him, Bravestarr's super-sharp hearing scoured the desert floor, ignoring the wind and jostling grains of sand, until it located the shrill, tiny cries of Obadiah Johnson calling for help. Bravestarr dismounted and scooped up a handful of trail dust. "Here I am!" cried the tiny figure standing in the middle of the dust pile in Bravestarr's palm. Obadiah was now a little bigger than an earth mouse. "Quick! Make me big again before I disappear!" "That could be difficult," the marshal commented as he wondered how to reverse Tex Hex's evil hex. "I've got cousin who live in Burrow near here," Deputy Fuzz said brightly. "I saw someone in Burrow knowing some spell or potion put things right." "Then lead us to him," Bravestarr urged, placing the tiny prospector on the rim of his hat. "This feller's shrinking fast." Deputy Fuzz led the way to his cousin's burrow, and while some of the other prairie people tried to interest 3030 in some brand-new gizmos for his bandolier, a potion was quickly brewed up and fed to the prospector through an eyedropper. As he grew larger, he was able to drink more and more, and by the time he'd finished the potion, he was half his original height. "Potion work in 2 stages," Deputy Fuzz's cousin explained. "He stay this size for 2 days. Then we give second stage of cure." "If you could look after him until then, I'd be grateful," said Bravestarr. "We have to go out on some unfinished business with Tex Hex." "No problem," Deputy Fuzz's cousin replied. "We're planning small celebration for New Texas year." Bravestarr, 3030, and Deputy Fuzz headed out for Obadiah's Kerium mine, having learned from the old prospector that the entrance was located close to the end of a shadow cast by a needle-shaped rock. When they arrived there, they found Cactus Head standing guard outside. "Step aside, Cactus Head," Bravestarr ordered. "It's Tex Hex we want." Cactus Head stood firm. From out of the shadowy entrance, Outlaw Scuzz stepped into the blazing sunshine, slowly followed by Tex Hex. "That mine doesn't belong to you, Tex Hex," Bravestarr continued. Tex Hex's first response was a nasty, brutish laugh. "You're quite right, Bravestarr," he cackled, climbing into his skull walker. "It was all a misunderstanding. You can have the mine and everything in it." Bravestarr and 3030 exchanged looks as the 2 other outlaws moved out of the way of the entrance. "It's a trap," hissed Deputy Fuzz. Bravestarr nodded. With Tex Hex involved, it had to be a trap. But what kind? There was only one way to find out. Slowly, Bravestarr, 3030, and Deputy Fuzz made their way to the opening in the sheer rock face. Tex Hex, Cactus Head, and Outlaw Scuzz looked on with evil smirks playing over their desperate features. Bravestarr stopped at the entrance. "You wait here," he told Deputy Fuzz. 3030 and I will check this out." Deputy Fuzz stayed at the opening to the mine, staring defiantly at the 3 outlaws. Tex Hex was the first to break the tension-packed silence. "They can have all the Kerium in the mine, for all I care," he began, "because it's fool's Kerium." He threw back his head and shrieked with ghastly laughter. "It looks like the real thing, but it's completely useless as a power source. That old prospector was a fool." "And so is Bravestarr," Outlaw Scuzz chipped in. "Our little surprise go off any minute." Deputy Fuzz turned on his heels and dashed into the mine. "Bravestarr! 3030!" he yelled. "Come back! It's a—" Then the ground rumbled and shook. There was a mighty ear-pounding blast of sound, and as Deputy Fuzz hit the ground in a tornado of flying sand and rock, Bravestarr's voice echoed round the collapsing mine. "Speed of the Puma!" While 3030 held up the roof with one hand and blasted stray pieces with the other, Bravestarr sped through the confusion with the speed of the Puma, propping up the collapsing edifice with anything he could find. By the time the blizzard of sound and fury finally ceased, and 3030 gingerly removed his hand from the ceiling, Tex Hex and his evil cronies were long gone. "Tex Hex say Kerium not real," said Deputy Fuzz. "It wasn't," Bravestarr concurred. It was fool's Kerium. But look. He pointed to a spot in the corner of the mine where crystalline veins in the rock glittered in the half-light. Tex-Hex's little trap has uncovered some real Kerium. Obadiah's rich after all. But when they returned to the prairie people's burrow, they found Obadiah strangely uninterested in his wealth. "What a fool I've been," he grinned as he helped a little prairie person build a weird-looking dimensional clock. "I've wasted my life chasing a simple element. I should have known the true riches that are to be found on the inside and can be shared with others. Life is a gift too precious to waste on greed. Staying here with the prairie people has made me the richest man on New Texas." And as Bravestarr, 3030, and Deputy Fuzz smiled broadly, Obadiah told them he wasn't going to take the second part of the potion because he was happy enough with the size he was.